We're a group of volunteers who are all Christians who go out on a Friday and Saturday night into the streets of Lincoln, and our strapline is we're there to care, to help and to listen. We go out about 10:30 at night and we stay till very early hours in the morning, about 3:30, 4, and we work with anybody who becomes vulnerable. So although we're all Christians, we don't talk about our faith. It was St. Francis of Assisi who said, preach the gospel at all times and if necessary use words. So we don't talk about what we believe, but it's our faith that motivates us to go out and help people. And every night is very different. So whatever we come across or whoever we come across, we try and help and get everybody home safely. The founder of Street Pastors, it began in London in 2003, and the founder is Les Isaacs, a lovely guy. He was inspirational. I heard him speak in 2007. He came to Lincoln and he talked about having street pastors, and listening to him, I thought, I've got to get involved in that. And so there was an initial team of 4 of us getting involved, and our chief inspector of the police took us out one night and took us into CCTV just to see what it was like in Lincoln City Centre on a Saturday night. And we'd been in the control room for a couple of minutes when there was a lady on University Bridge just about to jump, and they alerted people, and we sat there and watched it. This was about 2 o'clock on an early Sunday morning, and my heart was in my mouth, and it seemed like hours, but in fact it was minutes before 2 police control cars got there, and just as the lady was about to jump, she was saved. And I thought, gosh, if I could do anything to prevent that happening, then I want to be a street pastor. So mine was a kind of fairly dramatic moment, but for most people it's just wanting to be out there to care and to help. We get onto the streets for about 10:30, and most people aren't in drink when we get on the streets, and so for the first hour or so we would tend to network. We come across some homeless on the streets of Lincoln. We carry flasks of soup or coffee. We carry dog chews because a lot of the homeless have dogs, and we would sit and we would talk to them. We would give them a drink, we would feed the dogs, sort of learn their stories, see if there's anything that we could do. We network with the police, with the door staff, with the licensed premises. So we spend the first hour kind of generally networking. As the night wears on and people become more in drink, I mean, we don't just deal with people who are in drink, but obviously a lot of that. So sometimes people lose their friends, they lose their wallets, their purses, they lose their phones, they can't remember where they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be meeting friends, and so we try and reunite people. If people have drunk too much alcohol and they can't get into a taxi, so we carry bottles of water with us and we administer water. That will make them vomit. It sounds a bit cruel, but once the alcohol is out of their system, once we've sobered them up, then we can get them to a taxi rank and they can get home safely. So we do that sort of stuff. We provide a listening ear quite often. Sometimes it seems that we're the only sober people about, and there's nowhere lonelier than being in a crowd if you don't feel really happy. And so sometimes people want to engage us and talk about some awful life circumstances, and we're there to provide a listening ear and provide again a drink or signpost to a professional agency if that's appropriate. We would always try to reunite. If somebody's on their own, we would try to reunite them, and we would try to sober them up. So, sometimes we might spend 2 hours with somebody until we can get them sober enough. If we don't think they're sober enough, they're not going to get in a taxi, because a taxi is perfectly within their rights to say, we're not going to take you if you're likely to vomit in a taxi. Obviously, that although there is on the spot fine, they have to come off and clean it up, so they lose revenue. So if we really don't think we're going to get anybody into a taxi, or they don't have any money to get in a taxi, then we would try and contact somebody on their phone saying, who's at home, or who do you share a flat with, and we would try and get hold of them and say, could you come out, or have you got any money? If we can get somebody to a taxi but they don't have any money, will you stand guarantor at the end that you'll pay for them? But we do sometimes land up ringing mum and dad, and they very kindly come, hopefully with a bowl or a bucket, and get their child home. At the end of the day, there are very few people we can't sort out, but if we can't sort them, then we would have to pass them to the police.
I know what I'm doing. So we'll either be called to someone, or we'll happen across somebody who just needs our help. What we do at that point is, if we can, we'll try and involve their friends in giving them a hand as well. We'll try and administer some water so that we just try and help them to actually get a bit more sober, because until they are, they're not going to be taken by a taxi or anyone else. So we've got to try and get them up, get them walking, and again link them into their friends where that's possible at all. If it isn't, then we'll try and help them to use their mobile phone to call family, friends, come out and pick them up. So we like to make sure that people get home absolutely safely.
We carry flip-flops, known as the flip-flop people, because as I'm sure you're aware, girls will come out of nightclubs having danced all night on really high heels and take their shoes off. And so if they walk to the taxi rank or wherever, there could be all sorts of unsavoury things like broken glass, or we call them pavement pizzas, you might call them piles of vomit on the floor. So we just say to people here, have a pair of flip-flops to get home safely. So we carry flip-flops, we carry bottled water, as I've explained. We carry space blankets, which are those foil blankets, and we can put those around people who come out of a nightclub. Girls don't wear coats, and they'll say, my taxi's going to be 20 minutes. They're lovely and warm when they come out of the nightclub. It's cold waiting, so we carry space blankets. We carry, we have a bag as well as pockets. We carry a little dustpan and brush, so if there is broken glass that's all smashed rather than big bits, we will pick up the big bits, we can sweep up that. We carry soup, we carry chocolate bars. If we come across diabetics, we can give them. We carry rubber gloves. We carry information cards, so we carry phones. We have radios that link us into everything going on. So it's, we're very laden down when we go out, but they're all very essential. I think it was fair to say that when we first came up with the idea, let's say 7.5 years ago, the initial response of the licensed premises, what, you're going to bring a load of Christians into Lincoln on a Saturday night? Fat lot of use they're going to be. Sort of 2 years down the line, having worked with us, they think it's the best initiative that Lincoln has ever seen. The police love us because we can do the jobs that they can't do. They're there to keep order, and if they've got somebody who's ill, lost their friends, distressed, then it might take half an hour to get things sorted. They don't have the time to do that, so they can pass them over to us. So we're constantly getting calls from the police saying, we've got this young man here, or we've got this female here, or she's got to wait for mum to come from, I don't know, Gainsborough, which is half an hour's 40 minutes drive. Could you wait with her? So the police think we do a great job. The door staff, again, we do the stuff that that they don't particularly want to do or haven't got the time to do. And so because every night we go out, and at sort of 3 a.m, they're saying, we're paid to do this, you're still smiling and you're not paid to do this, so they think we're great. So we all get on really, really well. I think in different ways, really. I think it's important that if somebody gets themselves, potentially, if you've got a female who's got separated from her friends and she's had too much to drink, so isn't really as alert as she might be, then potentially if we can escort that person home, we might save a sexual assault. So that in itself is very valid. So I think that's important. I think helping people get home, trying to give the message, drink safely. I go into schools as part of my role, and I work with sixth formers, and we talk about how to have a safe night out. We say, we're not saying you can't go out, we're not saying you can't drink, but think about the consequences, make sure you do things safely. So hopefully we've had kind of an impact on that. And also we have a prayer team that is always at the base. We've got one team that doesn't come to base, prays from home, but everybody else is at the base, and we pray for peace on the city. And I think that's really, really important. As a Christian, I believe in the power of prayer. And if we've got things kicking off at night and we're really busy, then we'll ring through to the prayer team and they will pray for things that are happening on the streets. But if there isn't much happening, then we just pray. We pray for the police, we pray for the licensed premises, we pray for taxi ranks, we pray that people get home safely, that there's no violence on the streets. And I think we have seen crime go down, not simply because of street passes, but it's a very joined up organisation in Lincoln. We work very well together. But I do believe that part of that success is because we pray 2 nights a week for the peace and the safety of the city that we love.
So do you think it'd be fair to say that you're helping people under the influence of alcohol while you're under the influence of God?
Oh, I haven't thought of that. It's a good way of putting it. Yes. As I say, it's not only people who've drunk too much, but predominantly they're the people who find themselves in difficulties. But yeah, I like that. It's a good way of putting it.